Billionaire Elon Musk, known for creating companies, names like PayPal, yeah, that was his, Tesla Motors, SpaceX, is also serving as chairman of SolarCity. Now, that company went public today after delaying the IPO and cutting the share price. I spoke with Elon and SolarCity CEO and co-founder Lyndon Rive earlier at the NASDAQ and asked them why they brought their company to market under what appeared to be a challenging situation today.
I don't think the day would change from today versus a month from now or 2 months from now. The impact that the solar sector has had and the challenges that the solar sector has had, specifically in the manufacturing, that will stay with us for the next 2 months. So it's important to educate them of who we are and then have them grow with us over time.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, we did debate very heavily whether we should stay private, perhaps do another private financing round, or go public. And at various times we thought we'll go one way or the other. The final deciding factor was that I placed some calls to institutional investors that I really trust, like Fidelity, and asked them what's their opinion. They recommended going public now rather than in the future. And based on that recommendation, we moved forward.
In a way, could it possibly work in your favor eventually that you underpromised and perhaps then overdeliver?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, if we meet our growth targets, the investment community will start building the confidence and knowing that this is not a traditional manufacturing. They will see that this is a new energy company. An energy company that creates electricity at the place where you need it. You don't have this legacy infrastructure, you don't have transmission and distribution, and you create it at the place where you need it, and it's cheaper.
SolarCity is fundamentally a distributed energy company.
Well, you install the panels, you lease them to the homeowner. I think homeowners don't want to think about it. They don't want to deal with it. You guys handle all of that and fold in the tax credits. But could you guys stand on your own 2 feet without the credits?
Absolutely. So for the most part of the U.S., there's been 2 types of incentives. There's been federal incentives and state incentives. The state incentives have almost disappeared. But yet we've been able to keep up with the cost reductions, to keep up with that state incentives declining. The federal incentive is going to go from 30% down to 10%, just like every other fossil fuels incentive out there in 2017. If we reduce our cost by 5.5% per year, we'll have a significantly sustainable business, very similar to what we're planning before the expiration.
You're the chairman, Elon, and you're his cousin, his bigger cousin.
Yeah.
Are you going to be sitting there handling him and saying, come on, keep those costs down?
Lyndon and Pete do such a great job of running SolarCity. Really, what I do is I show up at the board meetings to hear the good news.
He does a little more than that.
Well, I'm saying you've been through the IPOs, but that process before with Tesla. I mean, you know what the challenges are here, and that some promises can't be delivered, others surprise. So you know that there are big issues ahead on this landscape.
Yeah, I think this is definitely not going to be an easy thing. It's going to be a tremendous amount of work. As Lyndon was saying, we need to improve costs by at least 5% a year in order to stay ahead of the incentive reduction.
When will you be profitable, by the way?
So in terms of cash flow positive, our goal is to be cash flow positive by the end of next year.
Elon, you and I walked through the Tesla motor plant up in California, Northern California, just back in September.
Right, yeah.
Looks energy intensive to me.
It does, yes.
Why don't you have SolarCity providing your electricity?
This is a little sad. The reason we don't have solar power right now is that Tesla is not yet a good enough credit. I know this sounds ridiculous. I think at some point next year, I'm confident we'll have solar power on our factory at Tesla.
Lyndon, on this great day for you guys, I mean, 2 employees to something like this today, the fiscal cliff, maybe that's part of the reason there wasn't as much interest. Do you see it like that? Or perhaps why you had to cut the price cut? I mean, that's pretty significant, going from $13 to $15 range down to $8.
I personally think the fiscal cliff is overblown. I don't think it's the reason why we had to take the reduction in the price. It's purely just before the fact that everybody has been burnt so badly with anything associated with solar. And it
Solyndra, all those other problems.
But just in general publicly traded manufacturing companies, every time they've made the bet and they've lost for the last 3 years, and then you go to them again and say, this time it's a different bet, No, this is the right bet. They want to make sure it's going to be the right bet.
Elon, the fiscal cliff, did that play into why SolarCity had to cut its price?
I think that was a minor factor, as Linda was saying. I think the larger factor is that investors who are looking at the IPO, for the last 10 clean tech IPOs they've invested in, are all underwater. In fact, the bankers were saying that the only clean tech company that's trading above its IPO price is Tesla. So it's just tough when somebody has heard a story where that's perhaps sounded compelling for the first 10 times, and then now the 11th company comes along and says, this time for sure it's going to work. And even though the fundamentals are really strong, I mean, nobody could refute the business fundamentals. They really, the pushback we got was somewhat irrational. It's like, oh, it's solar's bad. We're like, but these fundamentals are really strong, and it's like, but solar's bad. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
We've had a 100% growth rate, 300% customer growth rate. Yeah, but solar's bad.
I mean, literally, we could have a mint and say we mint money, but solar's bad. I'm like, wait a second.